We're going to check this. I think it's not the best hand. We block a lot of the hands we want to target. So like we want him to have a hand like 8-8 of spades or something to fold. Now we have a pretty interesting spot. I mean, I don't know. So I'm just going to go half pot. I don't know, honestly. Like, target pocket 8s. You could have 10s. You could have jacks. Those are very possible. Jack 9. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. It's whatever. Like, we have no EV. EV are checking is 0. Maybe we can give up with that one, but at the same time, we don't have tons of air in that situation, and so like I feel like I'm going to mark that one as well. But I feel like that's certainly a spot we could think about a bluff. I don't think it makes too much sense to go bigger because, like, yeah, he's just got a jack right and he calls, or he's got a set. He's not going to fold. But I do think that like our hand's probably good enough to bluff blocking. Maybe it blocks the 6s, which one we have. I don't know. Typically in spots where like we're uncapped and we have no checking EV, I feel like it's never going to be a bad thing just to flick in a bluff. Does mean you'll overbluff in some spots with that sort of, but as a default I think it's probably reasonable. What if a fun player decides to switch his strategy just for fun? This is where you've got to anticipate. This is where we get really interesting psychological aspects that are easy to state and really hard to justify some of the assumptions you can make. The psychology of poker, especially with fun players, is something that I think is, yeah. So we'll give you an example. If you've just won a big pot of someone and they're recreational, I would suggest they are much more likely to want to win the next pot through any means necessary, which means I would suggest more likely to be bluffing, ISOing, calling, raising, whatever, taking an aggressive action. And vice versa, if they've just won a big pot and they're recreational, they may be much happier to let the next one go. And so you can cater and tailor your strategy specifically based on the immediate results. Especially with a recreational, they are perhaps more invested in the result of the game. They're not playing 8 tables. You know, they're like, oh, I've got $1,500 here. I want to win this. Just like I want to win this one and do because I'm, yeah. And so I think that's a really interesting kind of ideas amongst lots of other different things. There's loads of little psychological aspects to poker that I think are well worth exploring, and probably I think typically under emphasized as like chip EV differential makers. But obviously when you play high stakes you don't typically play that many recreationals, and so it's easy to kind of just be very reg focused, and then hey, the recreational comes, I've got a plus EV game, like I'm not going to stress too much about it. And that's definitely something I think that it's easy to fall into that trap a little bit of just thinking, yeah, I'll make money against recreationals, whatever, so who cares? But obviously, you know, if you can make an extra 10 chips against every recreational you play, that has a big impact. Jamming the ace jack, hoping for a call from worse. That's exactly it. Generalissimo Leica, looking for a king or a 9? Nope. Regs are easier because they respect the raises. They respect the raises. That's what you gotta find. The stake where they respect your raises. That's the stake you're playing at. I like the fact there's at least a bit of diversity in who will be playing. So it's not just, we've had a lot of sessions where it's like Slayer and 300 Chef, for example, just again and again and again. And it's obviously fine, but I enjoy playing different opponents a little bit. And so I'm always happy if there's like a mixture. Plus, you know, 4 guys multi-tabling, I feel like, again, there's not tons of edges available in these games, playing good players at 50 big blinds. But if you are looking for edges, they will be more likely found when guys are all maxing out battling, and we're going to try and sneak into the 5th place leaderboard, which hopefully is doable. This is a pretty comfortable fold now. So what's happening here? They had a limp bet check and a little bet on the turn. You guess it was sort of 5x, 4x, king x, all possible. Still some bluffs as well available. Slag goes for the fold. Micah says, Spanish players have to pay tax at the end of the year. How does this work for Team 651 staking deals? We obviously can't get a percentage of pre-tax profits. We have lots of Spanish guys, so I assume there's a way. I don't know the details myself, like how that would typically work, but let's say it doesn't seem like it's an issue for some of our Spanish contingent. I guess, you know, just figure out, right? But I honestly, I don't know, unfortunately, Marco, if I'm honest. This historically would have been a spot where I would have been like, oh, I should tank Shelf because what if I'm giving away some timing tells, etc., etc. But like realistically, these are not concerns that I think things that really should be present. Hey, we made it straight. Nice. Alright, we'll just check this one. We have some. I quite like checking these low A6 back. Yeah, we'll just go for a call. Could raise as well, but I think call seems also fine. Nice to make it flush. If we're not making a flush, would have been cool. Pretty dynamic board, so like it's quite. You'd expect lots of King X probably to go quite big here on the turn. Face a check, and so definitely going to bet. I think, to be honest, like this seems a decent enough sizing. I'm not going to stress too much about it. Maybe a little bit bigger, because I think the range is pretty inelastic. So like if you got a hand like 10-7 or whatever, you're likely check calling. And if you got, let's say, just 10-7 out of diamonds, or let's say you have Queen 7 or clubs there, you're just probably going to check fold, and it doesn't really matter the sizing too much. So I think, yeah. Best Trick says, how often do you see a recreational player at the 500s? I can say around 2% of the time historically. So yes, not frequently, but you can structure your grind in a way that you would see a few more. But yeah, I think the average reg to rec ratio is around 2 or 3%. I think I actually typically average a little bit more. When I say a little bit more, like 5%. It's not a lot, you know, but yeah. Generalissimo Leica, welcome. How often do you see recreational play? No, that was Best Reg. Thank you, Best Reg. Good night, mate. 12k games, volume every month with 10 to 11 chips is okay for part ultras, 10s and 20s. Ooh, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't expecting to shove here. I guess we'll fold, to be honest. Like, at best case scenario up against a flush draw, and it's like, but like every better hand can shove here, so it actually doesn't fold. I wouldn't normally raise fold there, but I didn't realize how shallow we were. I think maybe it was a mistake. Should have just called, but oh well. I misread the stack depths. If we're shallow, it's fine to stack off there, but yeah, I'm not used to playing 10+ BB poker apparently. So 12k games volume every month with 10 to 11 chips is okay for parts ultras, 10s or 20s. So I think the 10 or 11 chips is definitely doable. The 12k games is the tough bit. So if you think about that, you've got to play. Your plan is to play, let's say, 500 games a day for 24 days out of the month. So not many days off. And 500 games a day is a lot, right? So you're going to need to 6 table, let's say, for about 6 hours, and do that with 1 day off a week, 6 days a week. So I think it's ambitious targets. Let's say that. I think it's an ambitious target. Is it doable? It's doable. Is it doable over a year? Like a one-off bump, you can definitely do it. Could you do this over a year? I don't know is the honest answer. Hey, maybe good. Not sure. I feel like a lot of 6x feels like Slayer's range here. We're definitely jamming if he checks, obviously. Trips is good. Okay, good. So I was actually a bit more worried if he shoved there, but yeah. I'm going to go for 9-6. Calls. Folds. Maybe a flush draw. The 10 or 11 is definitely achievable. It's what I would say is the more volume you play, the lower your Chippy V expectations should be to match up, because like it's not super guaranteed that you'll make. You can definitely make 11 chips like as a general, but like playing 12k games a month, that's a lot tougher, right? But it's possible, and if you go for it, I wish you lots of luck, is what I will say. Kobretti's in the house. Good evening from Poland. Thank you very much, Kobretti. Dziękuję. Powodzenia kolego. Kukunt says, do you play tournament poker? I have played tournament poker in the past, and ooh, this is bad. Please flop a set. Oh god, it's aces, huh? It's just aces. I mean, it could be a 7, right? And it still could be a flush draw, and it still could be a king, queen of spade or something, but I think this is kings. King jack, wow. Didn't think it was that. Didn't think it was that. It's unusual, not a Lidden. Okay. I mean, it's whatever. That's. I wasn't thrilled about it. King jack's. I mean, it's all the same, right? Kings and king jack is the same EV against the hand. We still left it at 9. But yeah. 6 days around 6 to 8 hours, 6 days a week is what I'm doing for around 2 to 3 months back. I mean, if you are able to do that and not go mad, then that's cool. Like, you definitely can do it. I would definitely be. I definitely would be cautious about the sustainability of that approach, because I think it's important to play poker in a way when you're trying to play professionally, to do it in a way that's sustainable, where you're not burning out or you're not sacrificing too many parts of your life, if that makes sense.